For 6 months, my son Julian and my daughter-in-law Brooke lived in my house as if I didn't matter. They treated me like I was just part of the furniture. I cooked, cleaned, paid the bills, and kept everything running. In return, I was ignored. Brooke would give orders like she owned the place, and Julian would just follow her lead without saying much. One morning, I sat in my kitchen and realized something painful but clear. I was living in my own home like a stranger. So I made a decision. The next day, while they were both at work, I started taking control of my life again. I stopped paying for their comfort. I went to the bank and separated my money. I adjusted the utility payments so I only paid for what I personally used. Then I quietly started preparing to leave. Over the next days, I stopped doing things for them. I only cooked for myself. I only cleaned my own space. I packed my important belongings slowly and quietly and moved them to a small apartment I had rented across town. They didn't notice much. They were too busy living their own lives and expecting everything to continue as before. Finally, on a Tuesday when they were at work, I hired movers. I took everything that was mine and left the house empty. Before I left, I placed an envelope on the kitchen table with the cancellation of utilities and the papers showing the house was being sold. Then I walked out and closed the door for the last time. That evening, my phone exploded with calls and messages. Julian was confused. Brooke was angry. They wanted answers, but I didn't reply. For the first time in years, I felt peaceful. 3 months later, the house was sold. I used the money to secure my future. Julian and Brooke had to move into a small apartment because they could not afford their old lifestyle without me paying for everything. Without me, their relationship also started breaking down. They blamed each other for their problems. After some time, Julian sent me a letter. He said they were struggling and needed help with money for a new place. It wasn't really an apology. It was a request. I didn't respond. I was finally living my own life, traveling, enjoying peace, and meeting friends. I wasn't going back to being used again. Then, 2 years later, Brooke called me. She told me she was pregnant and that they needed money. She also suggested I move in with them later to help raise the baby. She spoke like everything was already decided. I listened quietly, then said no. I told her my money was for my retirement and my life now. I had already spent my years raising a family. I would not become their support system again. She was shocked and upset, but I stayed calm. After that, Julian met me in a cafe. He looked tired and stressed. He tried to convince me that I should help because we were family, but I told him the truth. Family is not supposed to be one-sided. I had spent years giving everything while being treated like I didn't matter. I would not do that again. He left disappointed. Brooke later tried guilt tactics, sending messages, pictures, and demands for baby items. I ignored all of it. Instead, I focused on my own life. I donated money to people who truly needed it. I traveled. I built peace for myself. One day, Julian came to my door asking to stay because he and Brooke were fighting. I told him no. He was an adult and needed to handle his own life. Eventually, he realized Brooke had only been using him for money. He left her. Later, he called me again. This time, he sounded different. He apologized and said he understood things better now. I agreed to meet him sometimes, but only for simple visits. No money, no demands. Slowly, our relationship became calmer. He started working and taking responsibility for his life. Now, I live peacefully in my own apartment. I travel when I want. I visit my grandchild sometimes, but only when I choose to. I am no longer the person who is used and ignored. I am finally living for myself.